So today we are going to start with the integral calculus. In the last lecture when we have started, you can see the heading was calculus. When we are just talking about the limit, continuity and differentiability of a function, then we call it just calculus. But when we are looking for the integration of some functions coming into the picture, then we have given the heading as integral calculus. It means now we are going to start with the integration of a function. So what integral calculus and what integration is, here we will see that for a given dy by dx is equal to fx, means if a function derivative is known to me and it is given by fx, then from this relation that the derivative of y with respect to x is fx, then what is the value of y, that is known as an integration. And whenever we have obtained the integration, we have followed the integration process because it is a process of finding out the y, then whatever we are obtaining as a result, that is known as an integral, correct? And if we have gx as an integral, then how we can represent, then we can write out that integral of this fx whose derivative is given to us as dy by dx. On integrating, what we are getting is we are getting integral of fx as gx. So this is how we are going to find out the notation. Correct. So this is our integral calculus. First part where we are going to learn about what you mean by the integration, what we mean by the integral of a function, and if we talk about fx to whom we have integrated is known as a integrand. So in just one slide we have the different definitions. One is the integration, when we are integrating something, the process of finding out the function whose derivative is known to us is known as integration. Whatever the function is coming as a result, means if we talk about gx, so it is called the integral, and to whom we have integrated to find out the integral is known as the integrand, correct? And what we can write down, if integral of fx dx is equal to gx, then obviously the derivative of gx is fx. It means it is just the reverse process we have. If we integrate fx, then we will find out gx. If I find out the derivative of gx, it should be fx, correct? But actually what we look for, that whenever we are integrating something, we used to add a constant c. So why we are adding a constant? Because if we find out the integral of the derivative of gx plus c, it is g dash of x, you know, where c is a constant. So what we are saying is that if we write down gx plus c, or if we find out whatever we are saying the integral as fx, so they both are actually giving me the same answer because it depends upon the integration constant. That's why we are saying that integral is not unique. We know that the derivative of a function is unique, but depending upon the things, integration of a function is not unique, and that's why we are saying two integrals always differ by a constant. Okay, so whenever we are integrating a function, we used to add a constant because of this reality that the two integrals always differ by a constant. So here we have some properties of the integration, as we have learned that what are the rules to follow when we are differentiating something, and now we are saying what are the rules for the integrals. So here if we have two function fx and phi x, we have their addition or subtraction, and then we are finding out their integral. So what it will give me, in order to find it out, we need to go for the integral of first function plus minus integral of the second function, as we have done for the derivative also, that if we have taken u and v and their sum and difference derivative, then it is just the derivative of first function plus minus derivative of the another function, correct? If we have some constant k multiplied by fx, where fx is a function and we are integrating it, then what happens, k will come outside. We are not going to find out integral of a constant, so in k which is multiplied with fx will come outside, and we will get k into integral of fx. And if we talk about integral of 0, as we know that the derivative of a constant is 0, so here we have integral of 0 dx is c. Okay? This is how we can learn. because whenever we are integrating, we are taking a constant along with. So what it actually means if there is some constant term in the equation, then on finding out the derivative, we are getting the integral. So we are not sure about, because we are not getting anything over there. है ना? Might be, let me take an example. Suppose I know that the integral of x, let me take x square, to make it more clear. Let me take the derivative of x square plus 1. So we know it is 2x. No, we know that it is 2x. So we have obtained the derivative of x square plus 1. So if we obtain the derivative of x square plus 1, it is 2x. Now, if I am not aware about this fact, so what I will do, if I want to integrate 2x dx, this is how we will do now, that when we are finding out the integral of 2x dx. So what we have said, then when we have derivative of this function as 2x, then the integral of the same thing must be the function which we have obtained from the differentiation. But actually when now we are going for integral of 2x dx, what will give me, it will give me 2 outside into integral of x dx. And we know from a formula that we have the integral of x as x square by 2. So if we see, if I integrate it, if we know the formula, it's better. If we are not aware of the formula, we are going to learn it, doesn't matter. So here if we have seen, the derivative of x square plus 1 is coming as 2x. And if we have integrated 2x back to lead this form, x square plus 1, so it is not coming back, but we are getting x square. That's why we are saying we have to add a constant c, so that it will be just negotiated with the value, that there we are getting something else when there is a constant there in the function whose derivative we have obtained. Hope so you are getting me, है ना? Because here what we actually wants to find out is that if we have differentiated a function, whatever the function is giving me the value, on integration it should give me the function back, but actually it is not going so, because there was a constant term. So, and we know that the derivative of constant is 0. So when it becomes 0, we are not aware of the fact which extra constant was there. So in order to we can say, in order to go through that deficiency, we are adding a constant c. Correct? So this is what we are saying, that integral of 0 dx is c, because there was nothing. We are getting only twice of x. We are not writing out 0 actually. But if it is assumed that every time we are getting having a 0 dx, then we are getting a constant c, so that we can say that yes, c should be any constant. Correct? Okay, thereafter we have some standard integrals, as we have learned for the standard derivatives. So here we are going for some standard integrals that we have to learn as such, based upon which we can find out the solution of the examples. And if we have already learned the derivatives of some functions as the standard functions, so from all of the fact that we have learned, we are going to learn how integral can be written. So here let's start with the first integral, integral of x in dx. Now if we find out integral of x in dx, how we are going to write down? We have to see how we are getting xn in the derivative form. Which formula we have learned? We have learned that the derivative of x raised to power n, if we find out the derivative of x raised to power n. So what it leads to? It gives me nx n minus 1, nx n minus 1. And now what we are looking for? We are looking for the integral of xn. So the first thing that I can do is, let me replace n by n plus 1. Why? So that in the power on the right hand side, we can have xn. It means if we say the derivative of xn is nx n minus 1, what is the derivative of x raised to power n plus 1? The derivative of x raised to power n plus 1 will be n plus 1 x raised to power n, and it is just the simple derivative of x raised to power n plus 1. Now if we see that the derivative of x n plus 1 is this one, then can we write down integral of xn. If I integrate it on both sides, what I will get? I will get here x of n plus 1. This is a constant n plus 1, so I can bring it in the denominator, which should equal to integral of xn. Means on integrating both of the sides, integral have removed this derivative and I am getting xn plus 1, and this n plus 1, which is a constant, is coming in the denominator. So we are getting xn plus 1 divided by n plus 1 is equal to integral of x raised to power n. But yes, there should be a constant c, so that whatever the loss is there regarding if some constant value is existing, we are not going to face it. Correct? So this is how we have calculated actually. So here we are not going for the derivation, but directly we are going to learn the formulas for the standard function whose integrals are required. Correct? It is up to you if you want more clarity, because sometimes for some student it is very hard to learn the things as such when they do not know actually how the formula is coming. So for those it's very good, because whenever we know the basic concept, is every time very easy to conclude that whatever they are doing is actually correct or not. You know? And if you can summarize it as such, so obviously it's also fine, because in our the course we are not going to deal with the derivation, so you can also learn it as such. Correct? So this is what we have. So here if we say what is the integral of x and dx, it is x n plus 1 divided by n plus 1 plus a constant c. And which condition we have written? We have written that n should not equal to minus of 1. Right? This is what we are saying regarding the condition. Next we have integral of 1 by x dx is equal to log x plus c. Every time when we are doing integral, so obviously you will see that we are getting a constant c, and hope so now we have learned why the constant c is coming. So let's revise what we have done for the log x. We know the derivative of log x is 1 by x. Derivative of log x is 1 by x, and if you have written c also, so obviously it doesn't matter, because derivative of c is 0. No? So if derivative of log x plus c is 1 by x, what is the integral of 1 by x? The integral of 1 by x is log ex plus c. Similarly, what is the derivative of ax by log a? Actually, we have learned for the derivative of ax, and we know that the derivative of ax is ax into log a. But in order to write on the formula for integral, we have taken this log a constant on this side. So from here we can say integral of ax dx is equal to ax by log a plus c. Similarly, integral of ex dx is equal to ex plus c. And a constant is coming every time. Similarly, if we talk about the trigonometric function, we know the derivative of cos x is minus sin x, and derivative of sin x is cos x. So here the same thing is there. Then integral of sin x dx is minus of cos x, and integral of cos x is sin x plus c. Means the opposite things are coming. Whatever we have done in the derivative, the opposite from right to left, if we write down, that the same thing is coming as the integrals. Correct? So you have written down all these. If you have not written down because the PPT is with you, it's your choice. But yes, you have to do the numericals with us so that you can practice it. So you have to go for the whole lecture as much as possible. If there is no network issue, obviously you have to go through it, and be sure to practice the thing, because without practice, obviously you can't be a master of differentiation and integration. Let's start with the next one. Here we are talking about the integration of sec x into tan x. So if we learn the derivatives, so we have the knowledge that the derivative of sec x is sec x into tan x. Sec x is coming as such and multiplied by tan x. So what we have as the integral of sec x tan x is equal to sec x plus 1. Similarly, we have the, I think it must be c. You have to confirm it. According to me, it must be c. It should not be 1. So you have to verify it. Let me write down here. I'm not sure about this. I think it is just a typo mistake. It is a constant that should follow here. Okay. Similarly, if we have the derivative of cosec, we have done as cosec x into quat x. So here the integral of cosec x into cot x is minus of cos cx plus c. Integral of, now we are talking about the hyperbolic function. Now what the change in the hyperbolic and the normal function is, when we are talking about the normal function, then the derivative of sin x is cos x and derivative of cos x is minus of sin x. But when we are working in the hyperbolics, then the derivative of cos x is sin x and derivative of sin x is cos x. When both are coming in the positive. Right? For the normal function, derivative of cos x is coming as minus of sin x. So this is the only there about change. So we have to admit it and we have to learn it that whenever we are working for the hyperbolic function, then here for the integral of sin hyperbolic x is equal to cos hyperbolic x plus c, and integral of cos hyperbolic x is equal to sin hyperbolic x plus c. Correct? And then after we have the integral of sec hyperbolic x into tan hyperbolic x. So here we are getting a change for integral of sec x into tan x. If we see, we are getting sec x, but here when both are hyperbolic and we are taking the integral, we are getting minus of sec hyperbolic x. Correct? So these are the important formulas that have been listed out here. You can either take a printout or you can go through your own notes, make out a summary sheet, because till now if you talk about what are the formula we have learned, they are important regarding the limit. Then we have the continuity, the differentiability. We have learned the derivative of various standard forms, and then after we have learned how to solve the function which is given in the either implicit form, in the parametric form, or one function derivative is to be obtained with respect to other. So as a summary, if you are writing out and creating a sheet, obviously it will be very helpful to you. It's my own experience that I used to share with the students, that whoever is preparing a sheet today, might be today it's helpful and in the coming examination it will be helpful, and might be if you are going to uh, secure it, keep it in tape, so it will be helpful to other student also. If somebody is asking from notes, then obviously all your small brothers and sisters are learning in the same field, so they can take benefit from these things. Hmm? So be sure to prepare good notes wherever possible. Actually. So now we are talking about the inverse of the function. I think yesterday also we have started with an example having tan inverse of x, and there I take a doubt because there they have taken I think 1 by 1 plus x. So I don't exactly remember. So we have to go through it where we have taken the derivative of tan inverse x. So here we have, I think I was right at that time, that the derivative of tan inverse x, if we talk about, is 1 by 1 plus x square. So if we have the integral of 1 by 1 plus x square dx, it is equal to tan inverse x plus c. Or we can say, if we are talking about that we need the answer in cot, so it the same thing can be written as minus of cot inverse x plus c. Either in 10 you can write down 1 by 1 plus x square, or we can write down in terms of cot with the negative sign. Okay, one more thing here, that here it is 1 by 1 plus x square. Might be possible that when we are looking at the problem, it is 1 by 1 plus something else square. You know? So obviously, if whatever the term is there as a square, you need to write it down whole as x, taking it as x, and then the answer could be written as tan inverse of x. So it depends upon, because we have seen during the earlier lectures also that whenever we have to frame the quadratic equation, so a lot of substitutions we have done. So in mathematics, whenever you are looking for an example to be solved and the example is not in the required form, so as a student, the first thing you have to do is bring it in the required form, or we can say reduce into the required form, and then you can apply the formula. Correct? So these are just the tips from my side, and I know that whenever students are doing, they are also following the same, because without such a logical mind, it's very hard to go for the mathematical problems to be solved. Okay? So here we have 1 by 1 plus x square, and it is coming. It is tan inverse x plus c or minus of cot inverse x plus c. And when we talk about under root, so there are two formulas coming in the square root, 1 by under root 1 minus x square and 1 by under root 1 plus x square. So when it is coming in negative, it can be written as sine inverse x plus c, or it is the same thing we can write on a minus of cos inverse x plus c. Correct? If we talk about 1 by under root 1 plus x square, when we are getting in under root and 1 plus x square is coming in the denominator, so we are getting in hyperbolic, sine hyperbolic inverse x plus c. Correct? So these are the formulas which are common. Then after we have some formula of cos hyperbolic inverse, sec inverse x, sec hyperbolic inverse x, and cosec hyperbolic inverse x. Right? So you must have to go through these examples in order to get the clarity that whenever some term is existing in under root and coming as either x square minus 1, 1 minus x square multiplied by x, or 1 plus x square, so how it can be written without going through the process of integration, because these are the formulas that are not so easy to derive at the time of the computation. When they are existing, you can write down that since this is equal to this, hence you can follow it. You know, because at the time of examination or at the time of practicing, when you are going to calculate it, it's really not easy. So you have to go through the standard formulas, you have to learn them as such, and then you can take the benefit of all these in finding out the solutions. So these are the basics which are required for the examples. So now we have to start the methods of integration. So now let me take the attendance, as I have seen some of you are saying that due to network problem you are not able to connect for the long duration. So let's start with the attendance in between, and then we are going to start with the lecture, continue with the lecture. And be sure to be here till the end of the lecture, because my motive is not to take your time much, but yes, you have joined the classes because of your goodness, that you are going to take the exam, you have to practice, so you have to actually learn. It's not good that you are just joining for the attendance and then leaving it, because I know that when you have left, then you are not studying something else, but yes, you are doing something else. So be sure to devote the time to the lecture whenever you have the lectures at least. Let's start with the attendance. Sahil. Sahil is here. Gagandeep.
Present, ma'am.
Present, ma'am.
Mhm. Sanjeev not here. ठीक है. Shivani.
Present, ma'am.
Raghunath. Hamid.
Present, ma'am.
Abhinav.
Present, ma'am.
Subhadeep. Sumit.
Yes, ma'am.
Reconnect. Umesh.
Ma'am.
Antarpreet.
Present, ma'am.
Tanushri. Tanushri and Shahbaz Singh. Tanushri is saying yes. And Shahbaz Singh. He was not here yesterday also. Let me check. Okay, I think Kuvar is absent and all other here are present. Correct? let me continue with the lecture. Now we are going to study regarding the methods of integration. So till now we have learned about the standard formulas. Now if you look at the methods of integration, the first method of integration is integration by substitution. Means sometimes it is possible to directly integrate the formula, the expression which is given to us, and we can write it down whenever it is given as a sum or difference or just multiplied by a constant. So whatever we have learned as a property, so there we can find out the integration directly. No? But sometimes it is not possible to integrate a function directly. So what we can do there, we have to substitute the function as some other variable. So let's see. Here we have written that we have to consider integral of fx dx. Now might be it's not easy to integrate the given function. So what we can do, we can take x is equal to some function of t. Let x is equal to phi t. Then we can find out that if x is equal to phi t, then dx upon dt can be written as phi dash t, or we can write down dx is equal to phi dash t dt. It means now if we see this is the function fx dx, it can be written as function of, in place of x we have phi t, f of phi t into, for dx we can write down f phi dash t dt. Correct? And now whatever the function form is coming, might be it is solvable by the some standard forms. So in order to get the clarity, let's see an example. And here let's see how we are doing it. Here we are saying find out the integral of 10x, and if I tell you, it is the important one of the important question I can say, because it's very easy and student used to start thinking that have we learned the integral of 10x or not, or where it will exist as a derivative like this, because normally we have learned that integral of sin x is this, integral of cos x is this, derivative of 10x we have learned, but for integral of 10x we have not learned directly. Right? So let's see how to do it. The first thing that we can do for 10x is, we have written 10x as a form of function sin x by cos x, because we know 10x is equal to sin x by cos x. So this is the first thing. Now we have to see that which thing should we take as a substitution, so that we can write down another one in the known form. So here what we have done, let us take cos x as t. If cos x is equal to t, then in finding the derivative of cos x, we will get sin x. You know? So we can say if cos x is equal to t, sin x dx is equal to dt. And it is in negative sign, because in derivative of cos x is minus of sin x. So from here we can see that if cos x is equal to c t, then sin x dx is equal to minus of dt. It means this numerator part, sin x dx, can be written as minus of dt, and the denominator part cos x is written as t. So what we are getting is negative of dt by t. And now if we see what is the integral of dt by t, it is the same thing if you are looking for dx by x, you know, because the variables are different but actually the formulas are same. So here we have integral of dt by t is equal to log t, and as we have learned, integral of dx by x is log x. So here we have integral of dt by t is log of t, and this minus sign is continued here, so we are getting minus of log t. And then after, if we see what is our t, t was taken as cos x, so we can write on minus of log cos x. And finally for the integral, what we need is, we have to add a constant. So we are getting the final answer is minus of log cos x plus c. You can add a constant over here also, or it should be written with a positive sign, means it can be taken as log cos x of minus 1. If I remove this minus, because it was actually coming in the log, and log of m raised to power n is n log m, n log m. So here we have cos x inverse, which is sec x. So that is why we are getting integral of 10x is log sec x plus c. Correct? If it is fine, then let me know. If you need to have some doubt clearance, then obviously you can let me know, because there are various approaches by which we can find out the integral of a function. Here if you see on the same slide, the first one we have obtained and we have stopped. Now here they have said or. There is another way that one can write down this 10x as 10x into sec x by sec x. Why? Because we know that the integral of sec x is, if we take this sec x as t, then if we differentiate it, then the derivative of sec x is sec x into 10x. So one form can be taken like this also. So here this is the first way that we have discussed, which is a very common form, that let us write 10x as sin x by cos x. Let cos x is equal to t, so we will get 1 by t, and sin x dx become dt. So I will get minus of dt by t, that can be written as minus of log t, and t was cos x, so it is log of sec x plus a constant c. Another form that can be written as, the 10x can be written as 10x into sec x by sec x, because if we divide the two, obviously it is the same thing as 10x. It means on multiplying and dividing by sec x, we are getting this form. Correct? Now if we take sec x as t, in order to simplify it, we can take let sec x is equal to t. If this sec x become t and we differentiate it, then we know derivative of sec x is sec x into 10x, which becomes equal to dt by dx. So from here we can write down sec x 10x dx is equal to dt, means the numerator part again become our dt and the denominator part become sec x, which is t. So we are getting integral of dt by t, and integral of dt by t gives me log t, which is t was sec x, so it is log of sec x plus c. Okay? So this is how we can find out the integral of a function by substitution method. By substitution method means, in order to find out the integral, we have to see what forms are possible to integrate the given function. Correct? Let's start with the next example. Integral of cot x dx. Now again, cot x can be written as cos x by sin x, and the same thing we can follow. Let sin x is equal to t. If I differentiate it, then sin x dx is equal to, integral of, sin x is t, means derivative if we take, then cos x dx is equal to dt. Correct? So if cos x dx become dt, it means from here we have the numerator part. Numerator part become dt and the denominator part becomes t. And if I integrate, dt by t will give me log of t, and t was sin x, so it is log of sin x plus c. Correct? So now we have to go for integration by parts. Till now what we have done the first type when it is possible for the integration by substitution. Means whatever the example was there, we have substituted a function in another form, taking as a variable, simplified it, and then after we have obtained the solution. Now another form that we are going to approach is integration by parts. Integration by parts means when we are talking about, we have two functions, so we can say we have the product of two functions whose integral has to be obtained. So as we have seen, if we have u and v as a function whose derivative has to be obtained, how to write it down? We can write down derivative of u v is equal to u into derivative of v plus v into derivative of u. Correct? Now we are using the same formula for the integral to find out how to find out integral of a product. But here we are going directly through the formula. We are not going for the derivation. Just we can note down this one. And what is the integral of uv? First function into integration of second. This is how we used to learn. Correct? Because it is never easy to go for u and v terms directly. So what we used to learn is that if we have to find out integral of a product uv, then it is first function into integration of second minus differentiation of first into integration of second, and then whole integration. Right? Let me read out again. Integral of uv is first function into integration of second, second means v, first function into integration of second minus differentiation of first gives me du by dx into integration of second and their whole integration. Okay? So we have to learn it as such because whenever the functions are coming, it's never easy to write it down. to write down the formula first and go through the calculation, it's better that if you are remembering the formula, you can apply it directly on the two functions. So let's start with an example. Here we have integral of x into ex. Correct? So here we have integral of x ex. We can take 1 as, I think here we have a mistake. U is equal to x, not v. So what the author have written is that this first x they have taken as u, this ex is taken as v. Correct? So if u is equal to x, u dash is also x, the derivative of u. If v, this should be v. If v is equal to ex, then v dash is also ex. Correct? So it doesn't matter more because ex is same for v and v dash x. So let's see how to apply the formula. Let us write down by ourselves. Okay? So here we have x into ex integral we have to obtain, and we are going to take it as first function into second function integral. So if we have to find out integral of x into ex, it is first function. First function means we have x first function into integration of second. Integration of ex we know is es. First function into integration of second minus differentiation of first. Differentiation of first means derivative of x into integration of second ex and their whole integration. So here if we take the whole integration, that we have to apply at the last. So here if we write down, it can be written as x into ex, and it is the integral of ex, it is the ex again. So it is x ex minus of ex, and taking ex as common, what we will left with, we can write it down as ex into x minus 1, and in the final answer what extra we need a constant. Right? So this is how we have to write down the integration. Either you can take u and v, it's your choice, but if you have remembered the formula, you will remember the formula, then try to write down directly using the first function and the second function. Correct? And always we will try to take the first function whose derivative is easy to find out, so that when we are doing here, sometimes we used to say that we have to take whatever the x terms are coming for the first function, so that here the integral will be reduced to the power, because we are finding out the derivative here, so obviously it will be reduced. Right? So let's see the next example, x into sin x dx. So here again we have first function x into integration of second. For sin x we can write down cos x minus cos x for the integral, first function into integration of second, minus derivative of first, for derivative of x is 1, into integration of second, integral of sin x is minus cos x and its whole integral. So here we have whole integral. So finally if you see, minus minus will become positive, and we'll get x cos x plus integral of cos x dx, and integral of cos x is sin x. So finally we are getting minus x cos x plus sin x plus c. Correct? So this is how we have obtained using the product rule, we can say, or actually in derivative we used to say it as a product rule, and here we used to say it as integration by parts, because we are breaking whatever the integral function is giving in the parts, and then we are using the formula to find out the integral. Correct? Similarly for log x, if we talk about, whenever we are working with the log x, so we used to take the first function as log x and the second function is v, means 1. We just, because log x can be written as log x into 1, you know? So here that's why we are taking log x and 1. So if we talk about first function, log x into integration of second, integration of 1 is x, first function into integration of second minus derivative of first 1 by x into integration of second and the whole dx. and if you see it gives me 1, so it gives me x log x minus integral of 1 dx, which is actually x. So we are getting x log x minus x plus c. Okay, so this is how we are finding out the integrals of the functions whose integrals are not known directly. So we have to use as a one go integration by substitution. If the function is complicated, we can take its integration by parts, and sometimes as we have seen for the log x, it was a single one, but we have taken as log x into 1 in order to go for the simplicity, to find out that it can be written as a product of log x into 1. So one function has been taken as log x itself, and the second function we have taken as 1. Correct? Yeah, the second example, if you can see, it's sine inverse x, and here also we have followed the same strategy, that we have taken sine inverse x can be written as first function, and the second function we are taking it as 1. So first function into integration of second minus differentiation of first into integration of second. Correct? So it's a big proof, and the whole solution is provided to you. Be sure to practice it, and obviously after doing all these things, here you can see we have substituted also. We have taken 1 minus x square is equal to t square for a substitution, and here we have started with taking sine inverse x is equal to u. So we are looking at it as a integration by parts also. And then after we have special type of integral, but I think it's final for today's lecture, because we have learned integral for the first time, and we have to practice enough for all these things, otherwise it will be very hard for the other things to be started. Here you can see the PPT is about to finish, but I'm not going to start about the special type of integral, because obviously these are time consuming, and we need a fresh mind to go for these four different or we can say special type of integrals. So let me stop for the timing, and in the next lecture we are going to start with this PPT along with some other type of integrals we are going to do in the next lecture. Right? If you have some doubts from the today's lecture or from the last one, you can ask me.